It's the jewel in the crown. Simply put, there is nowhere quite like Monaco, and it's all about finding your groove from the beginning of the very first practice session, here at the tightest and twistiest circuit of them all.
Okay, radio check, radio check.
Radio check.
Let's get a few laps under our belt. Okay, the circuit's clear at the moment. We're good to go.
It's Monte Carlo with history, glamour, and a uniquely tight and claustrophobic challenge. One that over the course of a lap sees us tour an entire country. Welcome along to the Monaco Grand Prix. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars will climb around 40 metres up the hill, past the casino, and then descend towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of 19 corners, and don't expect to see much overtaking here today. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri and Norris, Hamilton, Antonelli, Albon and Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Hadjar, Liam Lawson and Stroll, Behrman, Ocon, Jack Doohan and Gabriel Bortoleto. Gasly and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. And alongside me a man, well, what more can I say? But he's a legend. Anthony Davidson. Now, I'll be generous here. It's not that long ago that you were racing and entertaining us on a Sunday. But in the years since, the sport has changed quite a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has, Crofty. You know, the cars have got bigger, they're heavier, but critically, there's more downforce to play with as well now. There was around 4 tons of downforce on the car at 300 kilometres an hour when I drove. You're now looking more towards 5 tons of downforce. So there's a big difference in performance. But because of that, the car being heavier and bigger, you've got to drive in a smoother way. You've got to look after it a bit more. You've got to nurse it through the slow speed corners more. They were much more nimble, agile machines when I drove in Formula 1 compared to now.
Okay, let's have a comms check, please. Radio check.
Radio check.
Okay, you've got front wing damage, but only have a few laps left. If you can live with it, stay out. DRS now enabled. DRS enabled. Okay, good work. Great pass. Okay, mate, final lap. Keep your concentration and let's bring it home. You might experience some understeer now that you're in the wake of the car ahead. Try to get past as soon as possible.
Here's the checkered flag. Here's our winner. By George, he's done it. Russell wins.
I mean, it looked like they were in a different category at points during the race, led every lap. I mean, what more can we say?
It's time to bring out the bubbly and spray it around. It's our podium celebrations. And taking his place on the top step of the podium, he gave it some hustle. Well done to George Russell. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.